back, everyone. I'm Riv here with Jat, and we're very pleased to welcome a member from Team Marn for the first time, Mega Zero. Congratulations, guys. Great, amazing game, actually.
Thanks, it's good to be here.
Yeah, so I mean, we were talking a little bit. That game seemed a little bit slow. Why did it take 26 minutes to see First Blood in that game?
Well, we were all saying, like, we're winning our lane, we're up in CS, we're taking free dragons. Why do we need to force anything when Shen could ult and, like, cause a really bad team fight for us? So we just played a really slow game and knew we were ahead.
All right, so was it just because of your team comp that made you know you were ahead, or was it like a giant goal lead you knew you were accumulating? What was it that went into your just like super kind of passive approach? Because that's not the Marn we saw in the qualifiers.
Well, against these better teams, we've noticed that if we get behind early, it's really hard for us to come back. So we've been playing a pretty passive game lately. We've been playing a pretty safe game. We've been taking free dragons, free CS. Like, we noticed every lane we're up CS, we're up 2-3 dragons. We just, like, wanted to make sure we were going to win that first team fight.
So we've seen it in a few of your scrims, but Heartbeat now rushing the Blade of the Ruined King. Where did this come from for you guys, and what was the talk that made it come about?
I'm really not too sure. I think it was one of the pro-Korean players or something that he saw do it, but he's been like, guys, I really want to try this build on Tristana, and we're like, okay, go for it.
So is it mainly for you guys to focus objectives, or he just likes the way the damage plays out for the game?
I think he just likes it for the damage that plays out. Like, it's really nice burst damage, especially for Tristana, because the active does like 200 damage and gives you the life back.
Right on. Wow,
so you guys started last week kind of 0-2, and then you came back here with one of the most impressive victories you've seen, 11-0. This is the second shutout we've seen in the North American LCS. Is it like gratifying now? Like, what did you do to prepare in this last week after starting 0-2?
We were scrimming a lot and talking about what we should be doing better. I feel like watching replays was the biggest thing we started doing. And because of this, like, we've noticed our mistakes against better teams, like, oh, we shouldn't engage here. Why are we engaging here? We were ahead this entire time. And we've just been kind of playing more passive and taking advantage of everything we can.
Awesome.
Right on. So coming into this, a lot of people like to put focus on you because of the inexperience in a 2v1 lane. How do you take to that? And if you do think it's a problem for you, how are you practicing those 2v1 lanes?
I practice the 2v1 in scrims a lot. And I'll be honest, I really hate 2v1. It's the worst thing ever. I really just want to play 1v1 and outplay my lane.
Right on.
So were you surprised then when you actually got a 1v1 lane, Renekton versus Shen? You started with the red elixir and then hung on to it for like 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah. I was actually pretty surprised. I thought they were going to put Shen bot and have Lulu Ez push down the front tower, like, pretty early on.
Right. Right on. So what is usually the team's objective focus? Are you guys all right if CLG says we're not going to take this dragon, we might lose something on here? What's your guys? Go in all the time, sometimes, safety times? How do you guys take your objectives?
We usually like try and get vision out in the area, and we look at the team comps mostly to see what we can do. Like, that game, obviously, our team was really strong at fighting early on. Like, Renekton's just like a beast. So when we noticed, like, hey, we can take a free dragon here, they're out of position, we made bot lane back. It's kind of like how we do things.
Right on.
Yeah, I mean, that was really good play. I'd say it was a little slow for my liking, the 26-minute game, but then the whole game was over in 32 minutes. Like, how did you decide to, like, close it so fast after being so at the start?
Well, I mean, we didn't really know how well they team fought and, like, how much ahead we were, I guess. Like, I knew we were ahead, maybe like 2,000 gold, but you told me we were up like 6,000 gold.
You're up about 6,000 gold before the first team fight.
But yeah, so after that first team fight, we're like, whoa, we just made them blow all their summoner spells, and we just aced them. Well, we're just going to, like, take everything now.
So you guys came in, it looked like a lot of comfort picks and not too much to counter the other team. Echo on TF. Usually you see TF to top and bottom and kind of feed the other lanes, but you played that very safe as well. Was it just like, we don't have to port in, we don't have to chance this? Or was TF actually being specifically used for that comp?
It was more of just playing safe because we knew they had Shen, and a lot of the times Spat was playing really far back at his turret, and I'm like, I can't stop his TP right now if he tries to TP. Just play it safe, we're already winning our lanes.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I also heard that you were, way back during when you were qualifying, you were thinking about doing school kind of part-time and then making the travel for the gaming house, but I hear you're actually living full-time in the gaming house now.
Yeah, I decided to move to LA and take a semester off Carnegie Mellon.
Awesome stuff.
All right, well, congratulations to you guys on the win and rest of this LCS. So, guys, now it's time for the second match of the day, coNLogic Gaming versus Complexity. And, Jat, both of these teams fell victim to Vulcan's rampage yesterday.
Yeah, so CLG took that loss really hard. It was been a problem for CLG almost this entire time. Like, when they take losses, they don't necessarily communicate as well as they should. It's a tricky thing for them to come back for things, and they've had that one-game turnaround now to see how they come in today.
Yeah, and Doublelift isn't playing well, then CLG kind of falls behind.
Yeah, and it's actually his first week KDA was 4.7 when they had a really good week, and then second week it was 1.6. So, I mean, second week being this week, of course. He has been their carry so much, and this could be a developing problem for them because Hotshot really loves playing support tanks up top, and in Season 2, 80 carries were much more potent than they are in Season 3 now. They're still incredibly potent late game, but you can't just rely on that one guy to be your main turret of damage. You do need other threats.
Well, that's what is happening for most of these teams. You know, we see Loudamortis being looked at as the person that needs to do it for them, and he needs to step it up.
It's really tricky for him. I mean, his first game when he was on Vi, he did miss some stuff late game. And yesterday, when their bottom lane gave up that double kill extremely early on, he pressed really, really hard, trying to make a bunch of plays in that game, and he wasn't able to do that. I mean, he is really the leader of that team. He's the most experienced player. A lot of people look at him as the best player on the team as well. So he needs to really perform. If it means just telling his lanes to be more passive at the start so they can let Loudamortis get to those lanes, it's going to be really important because Complexity is only on their third LCS game. They have a lot of growth to go through still.
Yeah, well, Complexity may be new to the LCS, but these guys have known each other online for a long time. Let's see what it's like for them to actually be living together.
I moved into this gaming house from New York City.
I lived in Houston, Texas. I'm from San Diego, California.
Before this, I lived in Idaho. When I was in New York, I lived with my mother and my dad, and my brother and my sister. It was really emotional for me, moving from family and friends I've known for my entire life.
Even if you only move about 30 minutes from home, it's still different.
Well, first, when we came here, we actually kind of used like going out for groceries or furniture as like a team bonding experience.
We haven't actually done a whole lot other than play League.
But as we've settled in, we're actually pretty lazy, it turns out.
I would say by far the cleanest person is our support, MIA.
Abe and Lot are good. I don't know anything about brunch.
I'm probably the dirtiest. Abe, our support player, he's not from here. Lot told him on the first day, hey, tell Brunch that we're gonna go get food at this fancy food joint called Carl's Jr. I'm like, look, it's Carl's Jr. Have you ever heard of this place? Like, I heard you guys love local stuff. Like, this what you want? He was actually convinced that Carl's Jr. is like this super fancy place, and he's getting all dressed and stuff. It turns out it's just like McDonald's. And they've made fun of me forever for it. Living with these guys is wonderful. I actually love all of them. I consider them my family.
Lot has been kind of the team dad. He kind of keeps us all in line.
We don't have to get mad at each other to get better. I really love all the 5 other members of my team, and I wouldn't want to be on a team with anybody else.
We actually have to work together too, because nothing gets done alone in League of Legends. You always have to work as a team.
The backbone to our team is that we're friends.
It's been fun living with, like the people you've only known online for the longest time.
We play games all day, but at night is when we can really just do whatever we want.
We definitely watch a lot of TV shows together. We've just been watching Glee.
Well, we all kind of watch Glee.
So we bring out Lot's mattress from his room.
It's all we've been watching. We've been doing sing-alongs all night. It's real cute.
I wouldn't trade this for anything else in the world.
Over the season, we'll probably get really, really, really good. Well, like a lot better than we are.
I think the gaming house is definitely a huge boon to us improving as a team.
I'm actually really happy here. It's great. I get to spend every day with all my friends.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the craziest things I've ever done. Moving out to LA, with a bunch of strangers and playing video games together. It sounds like a dream come true, but that's because that's exactly what it is.
You want to go to Carl's Jr. later?
I would love to go to Carl's Jr.
Right.
I'm already dressed.
Yeah, we're super good. All right, guys, let's check out the lineups on the blue team. It's coNLogic Gaming. Hotshot in the top lane, Chowster in the jungle, Link in mid, Doublelift and AD, and Aframu on that support.
And on the red team, it's going to be Complexity. Nick Wu in the top lane, Loudamortis, as they said, the mom of the family in the jungle, Chuper mid lane, Brunchu on AD carry, and MIA on support.
And Jad, this game has our featured matchup of the day as well. We got 2 very cocky ADs who aren't afraid to let the world know exactly what they think. We're talking about Doublelift and Brunch U.
Yeah, and Brunch U is a very arrogant player as well. He actually tried out for CLG's support position when it was available, and he was one of the few people who Doublelift called not terrible, which actually for Doublelift is a huge compliment. I hear that gave Brunch U a lot of extra confidence coming in to be the AD carry for Complexity. And I mean, Doublelift actually has a t-shirt that says everyone else is trash that he sells. So, you know, these guys do like being arrogant to each other.
Yeah, it's actually a great shirt. Kind of has the world in the trash, and he's just, yep, this is me. I'm Doublelift. But yeah, these guys coming in here, strong mechanics, strong gameplay. We heard, you know, once Doublelift was under Chowster, the theory crafter of NA, he was able to just do pretty much everything and anything. And now with Aframu on support, really wanting to play that Thresh, we're going to see something possibly coming from that lane. But CLG is trying to work back off of that momentum loss.
And I want to see how CLG comes into this day, because they kind of have their own brain trust that they like to go for. Like Chowster and Hotshot GG have their own set of champions that they think are good, right? They've been picking the Gallios. They've been picking Nasus. They've picked Syndra. Chowster's one of the few North Americans who still does the Lee Sin jungle, right?
Yeah.
Doublelift thinks Vayne and Kog'Maw are really the only two useful AD carries nowadays, right? They have their own set of things that they like to do, and I wonder if the losses they took yesterday have made them even refocus, even just in a day, or whether they're going to continue going with just what they've theory crafted to be the best for them.
It's true. The picks seem kind of singled out for the players themselves and not to synergize with the team too well. That's a really good point. As these guys do come in and they get loaded into the game, it's going to be, like we said, a matchup of the first. So these guys testing water against each other. We're going to have to see, you know, how MIA comes in supporting Brunch U and his cockiness, and Aframu to Doublelift.
So the bottom lane matchup will be so key for Complexity. Their loss yesterday, their bottom lane did make a pretty crucial mistake. It was capitalized on so well by Zuna and Muffin Cutie, but they can't die that early in the game, especially with a double kill, because Doublelift and Aframu would not let up on that, and that would be another loss for Complexity. So they have to be very cautious early on in the game not to let that kind of stuff happen.
Yeah, they're actually joking in chat right now. They're saying, we'll give us 3 kills to start, and then we'll take 3 more because of yesterday. So they know, you know, it was a mistake. It's awesome that they can laugh it off, and that's another thing that we've seen these teams, you know, experienced, inexperienced, coming in, handling the pressure, whether they want to change the lineup right away or whether, you know, they take it like Falcon did in stride and come back with more team cohesion.
Well, if the video we just saw is any indication, Complexity has really good team cohesion. They seem to get along really, really well. They do have that good dynamic, and they have only lost 2 games, right? This is their third game,
and one of them
the
is the
LCS.
Curse, undefeated.
Right, the undefeated Curse. And CLG was struggling yesterday, right? Can they give their second team the first win of the LCS, right? It's all going to be on the line here.
That isn't the rap you want to have coming into it, especially when your losses are coming in just mounds right now. People are throwing them at you. We'll have to see. They did have yesterday to kind of talk over what happened. Like we said, they were quite flustered. They definitely didn't like, they kind of walked out here quietly. You know, usually they're a team to stay around. Curse likes to stay around, and we all chat. But they were kind of like, you know, we need to walk out on this one. We figure out what's going on. It's kind of like seeing a team in a best of 3 kind of surrender the first game and know they have something else ready for the second one.
And CLG's used to those best of 3s, right? So the best of 1s is a bit of a change for them. They are planning for just the one game. They've been around for longer than anyone. I see Counterlogic Gaming was the first North American competitive team. They played WCG 2010, right? It was just Hotshot GG and Chowster who were still on the team from then, but they were still there, right? Like, they're the veterans of this community.
Super core.
And Complexity, super, super young coming in. It's cool to see them clashing against each other.
Super young, good experience though, at least in a competitive scene. I mean, Niku coming from the fighting scene, Louder Mortis is definitely required for that team to have the in-game calls, the in-game objectives. He's like kind of their Bloodwater from the jungle position.
Or the Chowster for CLG, right?
Oh,
the junglers for both these teams
right?
will be calling really against each other.
Why not that?
I don't know how much Louder Mortis will do the theory crafting for those guys, because even from Mega Zero, they're just getting into it now, right? Like, they're just watching replays now, and you're seeing what awesome results it has for them. CLG's been in their gaming house for a while right now, and we're into Champion Select finally, so it's like, how is all the preparation that CLG has done going to pay off? Because early on in the season, it's up in the air.
They did bring back some picks yesterday that we kind of say are new throughout the iterations they've seen and changes, whether directly or indirectly. That Hotshot and that Hotshot and that Galio, that Mundo and that Galio, we're still kind of out there picks. So we'll have to see if they choose to bring him in again. Zed, Nidalee, and Singed being Nick kicked out right away.
Yeah, Nick Wu getting 2 champions banned against him immediately. So no Zed and no Singed for Nick Wu. Nidalee, Hotshot not allowed to play it, and it's actually a really strange thing, even though it was CLG who kind of banned out Singed. Hotshot loves to play those pressure junglers up top, just the tanks that split push all day. I really wonder why he hasn't picked up Singed in all of his years playing. Like, it seems like it would fit his playstyle really well.
Yeah, we were talking about this yesterday. It's kind of like, I want to be off in my own little world, doing my thing, and just never picked up Singed.
Yeah, so you want to be Singed. That's what you want to be.
And Syndra coming in as the last band, as well as coL.
So all 6 bans done right away, and Jin Zhao immediately locked in.
Yep.
That's really good for Chowster because he was trying to make things happen on Lee Sin earlier, but you know who's actually almost even better early game at ganking? It's the current patch of Xin Zhao.
Yep, and we see Jarvan quickly going on to the other side for Lauda Mortis. He's been on those aggressive junglers as of late, like everybody else, that trinity of just in your face.
And they should do Tarek Jarvan here. If they want to get
got
the
it,
armor
right?
ores locked
Tarek was
in,
banned out last game, so we didn't get to see him.
there's already the full physical either jungler or top laner in Xin Zhao, and they would be able to get it right now. They're sitting on it a little bit. Maybe they wanted to play like Thresh or something, so they're waiting on it. I heard the complexity of all the teams today, the highest chance of playing Thresh, but they do go with the Shen instead.
Let's see. CLG hasn't locked it in either. Aphromoo known for it. Yep. Not known for it, but known to play it in his champion pool, obviously. You need that, Tarek.
And they took the Tarek, and they needed to do that when they're taking Jace. Like, I don't know if they would have been able to pick Jace. I think that's a Jace mid for Link. If Tarek was still available, they wouldn't want to pick that into so many armor ores. 52 armor is how much you can get together. 22 from the Jarvan Flag and 30 from the Tarek Shatter. But with that, I think that's a pretty good starting lineup for CLG.
It's Trooper and Brunch now to pick. We'll have to see what they show in their hand of composition. Right now we have the top lane in the jungle for complexity. That's pretty much all easy. Can't really be countered there. And we see Trooper on your screen right now. Is they're actually taking their time on this. So whether it be comfort picks or not, I think these are trying to a little bit, at least counter a little bit what they see from Counter Logic.
Right. I mean, MIA's played Soraka in both of his games.
That's
in both
true.
of their losses. It got beat up early on in the first game. What are Brunch U and MIA going to decide to play here? We can see Trooper also deciding. They right at the last second, do we have the Thresh and Twitch? I think we got it.
Lock it. Okay,
we got the
it's
Thresh and
locked
Twitch.
in. All right. All the Thresh facts. You better...
Finally happened. I got some Thresh facts. I'm
Pull
going
them
to
out.
bring one out right here.
All right.
His Q hook is a half-second cast time, whereas Blitzcrank's would be a quarter-second, but Thresh doesn't have to turn in the direction that he starts winding it up. The only spell in the game that has a wind-up that doesn't immediately turn you into the direction that you're casting it.
You just
Mind
like,
games.
balk the throw. Chuck it over
You start
here.
this way and shoot it over there.
Bam. The no-look. The no-look hook. We will begin to have those. Urgot coming in here, and we also have a little bit of a Malphite. So the Tarek Urgot lane coming in for the swap, and there is a lot of face crush once you are swapped on that team.
That's the Face Crush team.
That's the face
right there.
crush team.
Yeah, I love that. Is a whole bunch of tanks. Their game against Counter Logic Gaming's game against TSM was the last time that they've played Urgot, and that actually worked really, really well for them. Double Lift did the Black Cleaver to Muramana on Urgot and just crushed faces. I think he did
that
Last
sounds
Whisper
painful.
right after that too. What? It's a lot. Yeah, he did. He was just all damage. He was damage Urgot. People didn't expect it. I like this team comp from CLG, and it allows Hotshot to be on that support tank, but also become an initiator.
And we'll have to see MIA to pick up the AP mid. We have not seen her in a long time. Cassiopeia coming out here.
Wow.
And it looks, it's an interesting pick because it's going to be a swap out. But you do have the Malphite initiation. I want to see how Trooper uses this one because Cassiopeia is known as the kind of reinitiation ult. You don't use it right away because everybody's just going to be like, well, here's my back.
Yeah,
so you get them when they're coming in.
Her Petrify is such an amazing counter initiation, but the main reason you pick Cassio was to win lane, at least back in the day. So for complexity, they wanted to win the lanes with the Thresh pick and being kind of a lane bully with Twitch. That might get blocked out a bit by the Urgot from CLG, but the rest of complexity, it is about the laning. Nick Wu will be able to, once he's 6, help out Trooper, Brunch U, and MIA deal with that bottom lane. For CLG, that is just the crushing face team as we were talking about earlier. Link is a really, really, really solid mid lane Jace. Chowster can put the early aggression on. Double Lift and Aphromoo will also be incredibly aggressive, but the team fights is just going to be a mob of tanks moving towards Complexity's backline.
Super scary. I do like the Cassiopeia pick to Jace. They both push very hard in the lane, so he's not going to get just wrecked under his turret the whole time. That's nice there, but like you said, made for winning the lane, but we haven't seen a cast against the Jace. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
That's going to be another huge matchup, but we also haven't seen Thresh with Twitch.
We haven't.
And I got another one for you.
Excited. Give me a stat.
Thresh has 50 more range on his hook than Blitzcrank, but it also moves 100 missile speed faster. It's 1900 versus 1800, and the hitbox is exactly the same size.
Oh, Riot, please.
Yep. Right, please. Fresh facts.
See the teams there facing off. They're about to go head-to-head here. Game 3 of the day coming in. Actually, Game 2. I'm getting ahead of myself here.
The last game took so long for First Blood, it counted for 2 games. Yeah.
That it did. As we see them poised and ready to go head-to-head on the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on to Summoner's Rift for Game 2 here of Week 3. Complexity versus CLG, and we have some pretty awesome compositions to start off this game.
We got to see it. I mean, we built it up in the first day. We said Complexity is the only team that could get to play Thresh, and we get it. And then CLG comes back with another unique-ish comp, right? They do their own thing. Marn is the only team that played something similar like this in the qualifiers. We haven't really seen it from a team yet in the season of LCS. All of just the wall of damage and tanks that's going to be walking through for them is huge. No wards going, a bunch of acceleration gates trying to rush up top lane, but Brunchu did spot most all of CLG out when they were invading.
Oh, Afram, who I think saw him. I thought we were going to get the flash and dazzle. He dazzled right out there. Look at Debonair Jace rolling with his team right now. They're throwing down the movement speed, and they're trying to get good aggression wards here in the jungle as they poise themselves in. So they go for quite deep wards on that red. It looks like the lane swap may be coming in here, and they're going to pressure that red as it comes around.
When they put 5-man invade and 2 really aggressive wards, that usually means that they're looking to do something in that red jungle. You do not put 2 wards in the enemy's jungle just to see where they are. You're really going to be looking to fight in that jungle later. While they were gone, though, Complexity placed a ward on CLG's red buff as well. That's more of a knowledge ward than an aggression ward, so kind of by the number of wards that teams place deep in other team's jungle early game, you can tell what kind of early game plays they're going to be putting out. But as I get confused on this, they are doing Urgot Taric bottom, which would make it substantially less likely that they'd be invading the red buff. Yeah,
I was just noticing that, and I figured as they came out, I was like, all right, they're calling it. They see a Thresh. It's like a Blitzcrank. They're not going to let that be 2v1. But I guess they're just feeling all right with it being a 2v1. And I like the pickup here of the blue elixir on Chuper in mid. Finally see the AP start to do it as well.
Yeah, Skara did this on coL last week as well. It was fairly successful for him, but he's really going to want to crush down Jace early. Jace doesn't get too much of his power until he's got a couple points in that Shock Blast and Acceleration Gate to really trade back. So as long as Chuper can keep his mana up, he's going to have to continually queue over and over again. We'll see how he's able to do that in the lane.
So strong help going to Lauda Mortis in the jungle here. It's like they're going to just go back and forth with these. Okie dokie, Nick Wu gets blue.
Right, Nick Wu took blue because he knew he was in a 2v1 lane, and actually that is a great counter to what CLG just had planned. I don't think they're going to make it here in time.
Oh, he puts a ward down instead of walking in. He so would have made it if he just had walked in.
Complexity is going to win out on this trade, though. CLG had so many wards in the red to try to figure out where they were started, but now since the invades, I can't explain it all.
There's
but coL's going to get the other
The
blue.
elixir has been used in mid link, so forced to just chug some of those potions. Looks like he has a few left for himself still, but they go for a tit for tat trade on the blues.
Except they didn't. Complexity
no, they
got
didn't
both.
because Shen got that one right.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get it all.
Trade the blues.
Because there was too much happening and I couldn't explain it. But Jarvan was able to go straight for the blue once they spotted Chouster invading their blue. That's why CLG had so many wards in the red area of Complexity, is because Chouster was planning on stealing the other red once he realized the other blue once he realized Lauda Mortis was starting red, but they didn't make it in time.
And breathe.
It's because Nick Wu started blue, so they predicted that play.
That Nick Wu. So we see Link coming around the backside here. This is such an aggressive game right now. Complete movement from minute 1 from both teams, and they have not stopped lacing up here as it looks like Link is going to pressure into the lane. Nick Wu gets dazzled under. They don't have much crowd control left, but it looks like he's going to try to stand on the turret. First blood coming in, going to, that's going to be Link.
But they did lose the kill back onto Nick Wu, so the big thing with that, though, is Link gets the blue buff, right? Because they did gank the blue buff Shen, and they then did not put any protection in for him on the turret. So that is a well-traded kill for Aframu, sacrificing himself on support. May not have needed to happen, but it's going to make the mid lane matchup so much better for Link.
That is crazy. How often do you see a mid laner roam at 3.5 minutes down to a bottom lane kill from behind the turret? Not much.
It's the evolution, man, because you see the junglers doing it. They say, oh yeah, Chouster's mid. I don't have to worry about a 3-man gank. Well, Chouster's mid because Link is ganking you.
Exactly. Hotshot doing pretty well in this lane, actually getting some good damage out on MIA as he's trying to harass. Looks like he actually took a few turret shots and what was some pressure they had going on. 1-to-1 are the kills, 5,900 to 5,800, so really no discrepancy there. And the lanes just kind of return back to farming. Nick Wu returns to his lane. His purchase was just going to be the Rejuve beat and boots so he can get himself out of those bad dazzle situations.
Yeah, he's really going to be in a tough situation now. Urgot and Tarek, especially with the synergy that Doublelift and Afromu have, makes the situation for Nick Wu so much harder. There's kind of the 3 different ways you do these 2v1 lanes. You either go for a kill, you go to deny the man, or you go to take the turret. But right now, CLG in the bottom lane looks to be getting the kill and the denial of Nick Wu because he's sitting on 6 and he's trapped at his turret for quite a while.
Just quickly at the CS, we can kind of see a story being told between Hotshot GG and Nick Wu. Good grab there, forcing the flash in that top lane. It looks like everybody's going to come to help and assist here. Can Hotshot make it look good enough for Complexity, but they have a ward there.
Just the last few seconds of that pink ward, too, were able to catch him out, so Complexity will be able to keep this pressure on. I think if MIA can land one more Thresh death sentence, Hotshot would be dead. That's why Hotshot's backing and Chowster's holding the lane.
A lot of Mortis back into the bottom side of the jungle as a good ward's actually coming in. A good bit of roam coming from Afromu, and he's putting them all up around the top side, especially near the blue, keeping vision of wherever Lauda Mortis is going. He had a hard time yesterday in his gameplay, and they're trying to give him a hard time today.
Nice little taunt in the turret there, harassing Doublelift down. That might curb their aggression for a bit too, especially with Lauda Mortis coming down. Also in the mid lane there, Chuper is completely out of his blue elixir, so that early start for him hasn't really paid off.
Yeah, it's kind of turning around. That blue buff to Link has definitely shown a bit too much harass for what Chuper was expecting in this early game here. Right on the outside, we do see Lauda Mortis waiting on the wing, but he chooses not to do anything.
Well, it was mainly CLG didn't give the opportunity for it. Lauda Mortis did the sneaky Jarvan jump over the wall to get into the brush and bypass the wards in the river, but then it just so happened that that was when CLG wanted the shop. Doublelift wanted to pick up his Tear of the Goddess. They shoved up and left, so there was no gank opportunity for Lauda Mortis.
So you got 2 tiers stacking now, really going for this team that can completely fight over and over and over again and just keep you running. We'll have to see if they can get to that point. It's looking pretty good right now. The gold completely even at 7 minutes, along with that 1 kill on each scoreboard, respectively. Lauda Mortis warding up towards that jungle. We have seen early dragons from him. We'll have to see what they do. Just walking by, saying hi.
It was kind of like, I caught you. Hey, buddy. And they were like, I don't want to fight you right now. And neither one of them wanted to fight. So that was a really interesting exchange.
Link coming back into mid. I thought it was going to be Chowster just on the edge there as they return for a quick gank. But oh no! Unstoppable Force in that top lane, just trying to push off coL, or Complexity I should say. But it looks like they're not too deterred there.
He was just trying to harass them off the turret, it seems, blowing his mouth with ultimate, not going for a kill, doesn't have the ignite. MIA is out of health potion, so he's going to be a little low if he sticks around for too long and he's at more threat of a gank. But also, the closing threat of Hotshot is now gone because he's dropped his ultimate. CLG invading them.
CLG with a big invade here. They send all 3 right back to Link once more. And then they go for the dragon. It's not going to be on Lauda Mortis this time. They're actually positioning for a gank that they won't be getting. But no, knowing they're going for the dragon, they're going to try to pressure Hotshot.
CLG, even though they got outmaneuvered at level 1 with the blue buffs, has taken back control of the blue and now the dragon. But Lauda Mortis taking that time where they're giving up the dragon. He's got to be able to get Hotshot here.
I thought he almost dodged that flag toss. There may be a little too much stick here coming in. The expunge coming from Brunch, and they do pick up a 2nd kill in the game.
So that is almost worth it. If they could take the tower, it will be worth it. But giving up the dragon is 975 gold, and the kill on Hotshot's only going to be 450 distributed amongst the bunch. So CLG gets double the gold out of that exchange.
And yeah, they stole blue, but Link's been taking that blue all game. He is not worried about it, and he's getting good damage here. Doublelift takes another one down, so even that exchange wouldn't be going in their favor if they grabbed it.
Yeah, it does look like CLG really just kept the mob in the bot lane from blue to dragon to turret, and there was nothing to deter them. Nick Wu's been denied so heavily, could not put up a fight in that situation. So CLG making the most of that 2v1 scenario with Hotshot doing a good job holding his own in the 1v2.
9 minutes on the clock as we look around the top lane between Nick Wu and Hotshot GG, which was swapped for these two, even on CS. Great job between those two. Mid, 13 CS in favor of Link, but I really don't think that is going to put him ahead too much. He's still just trying to stack the tier. He gave himself a little bit of that lifesteal from that Vampiric Scepter.
The nice thing for Link, though, is he's sat on a blue buff for a real long time, right? So
yeah,
he got the kill, right, and then they went for the invaded blue buff as well. So he's just been stuck on it for a while. And Chuper, I believe, he got CLG's blue when they went to dive top as well. So they just traded each other's blues.
And we see Tarek coming up here. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually try to steal this blue away from Chuper once they do something. Being warded, though, they won't be able to do that very much, or at least just yet. They clear out the pink. They may be looking to grab this blue right here if they can get this dazzle from Aframu in. But no, Trooper sees them just on the side. He's able to make it out. Getting a good warden, though. Aframu trying to put down some aggression. He should be able to make it out of this alive, but he's forced to flash. No, the Cataclysm, not looking good for Aframu. They actually put everything into this one, and they won't let him out. Link and Chowster look like they want to try to get in the engagement here. Chuper just with the slow from his ulti, and it looks like Hotshot getting a great ulti onto Chuper. They turn this one around. MIA is right in the middle of everything. It doesn't look like they have a good amount of DPS. There's the one from Jace, but after that, it's just the auto attacks coming in.
Thresh just missed his Q. Also, Chuper died before the Shenalt could go off. At the same time, the double lift interrupted Shenalt's anyway, so he wouldn't have been able to make it in. It was a really good idea for Complexity, but they didn't realize how many CLG people were there, and they got turned around because they were generally outmanned.
Well, that ward was just cleared coming in by Aframu, so they were able to kind of just pile on everything from the darkness. Complexity trying so hard to find an edge here, kind of put themselves behind.
It's actually the second death Aframu's taken that's granted his team a pretty good advantage.
That's true.
Aframu says the support's just all about having presence, and he's having presence in places which is making people want to hit him out, and then the rest of his team is there to back him up.
Manamune finished up onto Urgot, continuously charging there. Twitch does have a BF sword as they aggress onto him in the top lane. He is going to be able to go in Viz here. About 400 and some health left. And they're just going to walk this one out.
Oh, he might not make it away in time. Chowster's on him.
Ooh.
Nah, didn't dive.
That boots one.
It's always that guessing game when Twitch decides to pop his stealth. He does get the move speed boost when he's doing it as well.
Yeah.
And Chowster was guessing pretty well where he was at, but he just decided not to go for the tower dive.
Let's just look a little bit. 20 CS for Link in mid as he's kind of increasing that, giving a hard time to Chuper here. Chuper, however, doesn't have a turret, so he should be able to just soak up all the experience flying down mid lane. They have a ping on bottom, interestingly enough. We'll have to see. It's Shen down there, so it's just going to be him. Nobody can teleport in on Shen.
And this is kind of not like CLG, the fact that they've gotten their gold lead via objectives and turrets.
Yeah.
A lot of times CLG is the team to sit back, farm and lane, pick the late game comp, and then just let things happen to them and just win team fights. But this game, they've really been taking the initiative. 2 turrets to 0 and 1 dragon to none, being all of their gold lead.
Mortis trying to set up some ganks for his team, but there's just too many words coming in for Counter Logic right now. It's all about caution today for these teams. We definitely have a faster game, no doubt, this time with kills and action, but it still seems like a lot of careful play coming from everyone today.
Yeah, MIA actually maxing his Q on Thresh. A lot of people will max the shield, but now that his Q is getting more and more points, he's got this really weird mechanic on it. Every soul he picks up will add an extra damage to his auto attack. And then also, based on the rank of your Q, 80 to 200% of your total attack damage after a 10-second charge on your auto attacks. It basically means that if he doesn't attack things for a while, his first swing does a crap load of damage.
Thresh facts, baby. 18,000 to 16,000 gold right now. 2 to 3 on the kills. Like you said, CLG doing a bit differently this time. They're putting the pressure in places they usually wouldn't. 2 to 1 in turrets as they continue to take away the buffs. They just have complete control of that.
It's been their blue buff.
Yeah, it is.
At the start of the game, it was Niku's blue buff, and then very quickly it became
seconds.
CLG's blue buff.
when the mid rotated at 3 minutes to grab it. So we see Mortis taking a good amount of burst damage. I don't think he wanted that flag toss to connect.
I do not think he wanted 4 people of CLG to be there, and this is that bruiser wall that CLG has. It's so hard for Complexity to initiate, especially since Mortis is so low, getting so poked by Lynx, Jace. They might end up losing this turret to Siege unless Complexity decides to initiate with a low Mortis.
You know, when Lynx is ahead as he is, this is kind of the thing I pointed out yesterday is he can put up those numbers just like Nidalee, and they banned Nidalee out, they picked Jace, and they're getting that same result.
It looks really good for Link right now. The mid Jace is a good spot. They banned out some really good members from Complexity. And there's maybe the initiate.
Guard. Oh, the unstoppable force coming in. How are you going to even stop that? It's with a Cassio ult. Kenji make it out alive. A very good engagement here. I don't think everybody was as ready as Hotshot was for that. He seemed a bit excited. They're able to get a few kills here, but they trade out 2 for 2, and it looks like the Jace gate is used to almost reinitiate there.
if the death sentence wouldn't have landed for Complexity, the Thresh Q right before Hotshot teleport initiated, that would have been totally one-sided, but Complexity really trying to keep this one going.
The flash taunt miss means Nick Wu has completely burned his energy, but there's not enough damage to turn it kite. No, double lift, giving himself the resistances through the hyperkinetic position reverser, but will he get the kill? He's just getting bumped around right now. Can't do much about it, and it looks like they will be able to turn this on CLG's head after a reinitiation. Link, so far away, tries to batter him backwards, but a double kill coming in now for Nick Wu. Looking for even more. Can Nick Wu pick up a triple here? He missed the flash taunt, but he could still pull this one up. One more for, no, it's going to be a hit from MIA, and the support picks one up.
And that's the turnaround for Complexity. They counter-initiated on CLG, what looked like an awesome initiation by Hotshot for CLG. And oh man, can Choster actually get here? Nope, Lantern, you're gone.
And those are the cool things you can see with Thresh. Just the save there. Trooper, they'll look to grab the dragon here.
They're going to have to be pretty quick with this one because Chouster is full health and Nick Wu plus MAA are very low on health and mana respectively. But it does look like CLG is just not interested in this one. And with that dragon, Complexity pulls within 1,000 gold. That's a pretty good comeback.
Very, very good comeback. Thresh definitely coming into play for these guys. A little bit of help on those. And I was surprised. Nick Wu missing the flash and the taunt going in. It just seemed like Complexity knew they had a complete upper hand there. Plus a few people coming out of the death chamber. We saw Trooper very close and would have easily been able to join that fight. So we're now at 8-5 here, just about 16 minutes in. Counterlogic Gaming still holding the turret lead. Kind of have to use this pressure to their advantage. They weren't able to get Dragon there. So like you said, the gold lead being closed in favor of Complexity now.
There's going to be a few interesting things that develop in these team fights because CLG has a very initiation-heavy team comp. They really just have to mob through a team to get there. That's one of the reasons the Cassiopeia pick is so good. As you pointed out, she is the counter-initiation master with her ultimate, being able to just stun people who are facing her when they run in. Also, the box, Thresh's ultimate, will do damage every time someone walks through one, and it casts right on himself. So it's actually better used defensively than offensively.
Yep.
Because if you're using it offensively, they have to walk through one. But if you're defensively using it, they have to walk through both walls to get through.
It looks like a little bit of an initiation here by Double Lift, or I should say Harass coming in. It didn't look like they wanted to go too deep on that. As they pressure this top turret, 4 strong, they're going to be able to take this guy down quite quickly, but it looks like they're also losing that bottom turret.
So Nick Wu started off giving up that first blood, but has picked up some sweet kills in those later team fights, and he's completely caught up, becoming that split-pushing monster on Shen that Hotshot is really going to have to be able to match up against, but I don't think he's going to be able to brawl him.
And a Red Elixir actually coming out for Laudamortis in the jungle. Not feeling like he's doing enough for his team in the fights, possibly, or just wants that extra surge of power and livingness. New word.
Laudamortis trying to pick up the fight efficiency. He realizes that they need to get the team fight advantage on something like CLG because CLG's composition isn't going to turtle well. They're a team that just goes all in all the time, so if you can start beating them in team fights, you take away their only play. Complexity with the Red Elixir might be trying to do that shortly.
They're not even waiting for the minion waves here. Level 9, and they're trying to tank the face tank the turrets already. Laudamortis doing what he can to stave off this damage, but looks like they could be able to drop it. A good amount of poke there as they back off. That turret prepped for any engagement to be taken down. Complexity really on their heels right now, but they're finding a way to climb back. That last dragon, definitely helpful. Their side of the jungle is clear. We're somewhat objective free, but nobody's going for Baron right now. So it's going to be about this next fight and who can get caught out.
And there's some really cool Thresh stuff I'd like to see in this game that's probably not going to happen. I was trying to think of like what would work really well with Thresh, and I was thinking like Thresh Twitch, because Twitch could open up in like a really stupid position behind the team.
Right.
And then everyone would try to run to Twitch as he's shooting him, but you just throw the lantern right on top of him, and he just jump back once they close for him. And since Twitch has 810 range with his spray and pray on, I think it would be really effective. But because the initiation is mainly on CLG this game, I don't think that's going to happen.
Link almost getting grabbed out there. Hotshot not in a good spot right now, getting pinched from both sides, but they say no, we don't need that engagement right now. We got to be sure we don't put too much into something and then lose what could be a shifty Baron attempt if everybody was down. But like I said, not that much damage around yet.
So it does look like this game has slowed down a little bit since that huge, chaotic, attempted home guard teleport tower dive by Hotshot. Home guard teleport would be back up for CLG right now, but they're not in that siege situation, and I think they're really not confident in their ability to dive like that after the last one kind of backfired on them.
Trying to look over and see what Complexity is trying to build right here, since they are against pretty much that completely AD heavy team. It's going to be easy for them to mitigate. We do see the Seeker's Guard coming out. also see the lock of the Iron Solari very fast. The Sunfire Cape, obviously on Shen, so they do have it right. That makes it a little bit easier when you just have to go against armor too.
And their builds are reflecting that quite well, right? The health item that Nick Wu built, Sunfire Cape, that also helps him with the split pushing. Shen usually will build the Warmogs and the Sunfire, it's just a matter of the order. Lock of the Iron Solari, right? These are pretty standard builds. The only differentiation you saw is Chuper's Seeker's Arm Guard. He'll probably turn that into his Zhonya's, which will be really good for them getting initiated on as well. Complexity does look to be building properly.
Let's see, matchup Doublelift and Brunch U as we match those two guys. The Infinity Edge, a little bit of damage there, but Baron would still take quite some time without having a big AP burst. And anybody else is a Jarvan and a Shen. They have the Madrid, so it's possible. And then we look over at Doublelift. And Manamoon stacking up at the Brutalizer as well. We saw him doing a good amount of chunking in his last few attacks. See what happens in this one. Yeah,
and Doublelift's Manamoon just converted into the Mirror Mana, so both Link and Doublelift
have
the Mirror Mana. If they can keep their mana up during this fight and they activate them both at the start, that is a significant chunk of damage. Like, when you go for those Mirror Mana, Manamoon type items, you are weaker while you're charging it, but once it converts, it is a significant power spike, and converting these both at 20 minutes is really important. But Complexity going in for a fight.
They are trying to go strong. Loudamortis gets a good amount, and Chowster actually jumps himself out to keep the back line staved off. Complexity MIA going down in this fight, and it is going to be completely back and forth. Brunchu very low, Loudamortis very low. They're trying to back off, but get the last bit of damage in. Doublelift does find that last Q, and looks like Nick Wu is quite in trouble here. He gets jumped on and slowed, forced to flash, but Link engages once again. Shut down there, and it is going to be a 3-for-1 so far as Chowster threw himself into the fire for his team.
Wow, that was a really crisp fight for CLG. It looked a little chaotic, but their counter initiated some great flash.
Super was trying to back in Vision. The last attacks to take him out as well. And Brunch, he says, no, I can't do it either.
Alpharmoon with the presence of mind to still have his flash after that entire fight. And it could have been a bit of the power spike from getting both those Mirror Mana transformations right before that battle. And the fact that Complexity tried to hard initiate onto CLG, so they couldn't get the big counter initiation. The box that came out from Thresh was really only broken by Chowster. And Chowster just took it for the team. Hotshot was able to dive in, shut down Brunch U. They weren't able to really get any great Lantern combos in with Thresh. And the initiation was all there for CLG once Loudamortis dove in.
And they timed it perfectly. You said both of those Mirror Manas. Couldn't say it, wasn't in my brain. Both of those Mirror Manas had just finished, 22 minutes. So they were just able to crush through that fight with great burst, quickly finishing the Black Cleaver out of what was just the Brutalizer before and buying a Giant's Belt. So Doublelift went back with a huge chunk of change.
Yeah, so the Noxian Corrosive Charge that Urgot throws out, which is the thing that seeks on his Qs, you land one of those, it will full stack the Black Cleaver on an area because it's a 5-second physical damage dot that ticks like every second. So the Black Cleaver is really good for CLG as a whole, right? If they land that just on a couple people, that's going to be an all-in for the rest of CLG.
And we see wards all across the inventory of Counter Logic as they look to solidify the advantage they have right now. They haven't been placed yet, but they aren't on the right side of the jungle. They're still just kind of pushing these waves out. You see good wards coming in for Complexity on their side, keeping it safe. They're keeping an eye on their buffs, and they're saying we need to get one on Baron, though, because that's what they don't have.
And this could be what CLG decides to force as well. They are the Brawl team, they're the Crush Face team, they just want to fight. So if they have the control over the Baron area, it's going to force Complexity to walk into the wrong places, and it could get a really good initiation from either Doublelift or Hotshot GG, who could just get down. Hotshot still has his teleport, so if at any moment if they want a really crisp initiation, he's going to go back to base, charge up his Home Guard boots, and teleport in. But at this point, it looks like they're just going to siege since they got a fresh blue buff on Link.
I mean, with that last fight, they were initiated on. So it was started with a bad situation, and they won it. So the confidence coming in here has to be tenfold, Jet.
And look at the confidence right there, face tanking the turret. They didn't take damage for face tanking that, right? That's how much armor and tankiness Hotshot has accumulated so far in this game. 230 armor for Hotshot right now without his W even turned on.
Hotshot having some fun, stealing Home Guard speed away from Shen with the shard there. The initiation, Chowster goes in on the MIA, breaks that side, and it's going to be Loudamortis trying to jump back in, but he goes right onto the tanks. Hotshot throws himself out onto Brunch U, and it's all going to be the focus outside the map. Brunch is getting his shots off, and he's able to shred down the team. Hotshot could only do so much, but Brunch just set free in this fight. He gets the slowdown on a Doublelift. Could he be coming up with another kill? Kind of turned around here as Hotshot comes back in. He gets the ground slam in, shuts down the attack speed, but it's only Chuper that gets hit by it. Shut down there, and Hotshot may find himself falling. Low health bars as Complexity limps along trying to catch Hotshot here. He shards, trying to get the movement speed, and the poison's going to take him down all the way to mid on that fight.
Another awesome turnaround by Complexity. Brunchu waited out the attack speed slow from Hotshot's ground slam and then unleashed his spray and pray, hitting multiple targets of CLG and really turning the tides on that fight.
Coming in now, we see the gold lead has been closed quite a bit because of that fight. It's only about 3,000 now, 14-10 as Complexity takes a good lead in the kills. The turrets are still 6-2 though. They don't have the map coverage, so this is a slow comeback for them. That means a lot, but it only gave them a little ground.
And it seems like CLG is outmaneuvering Complexity for the most part. In between fights, Complexity will grow their gold lead. This has happened twice now, and then when they initiate on Complexity, after they think they're safe to, Complexity's been turning it around. So the two kind of dive attempt to take a huge stranglehold on the game fights that CLG has had have both went to Complexity.
Look around at some of the inventories. The Oracles are out. They will be poised for that final objective put on Summoner's Rift. The Baron Nashor. We do see we have Chauster moving that way, making sure to get some wards down. Also an Oracles for him as well, so if they lose that, they have Alphamu with an Oracles. They're double stacking on those. So they are really looking to keep control everywhere.
So this time, CLG is swapping the Oracles between support and jungler. Yesterday, they were having Hotshot pick up a few Oracles, but this time Hotshot's kept his farm a little bit higher, right? He's at 8,000 gold. He's 400 ahead of Niku on the other side. His Malphite really needs to be able to deal with Twitch by himself, because if it doesn't, then Brunchu kind of gets out of hand like we saw in that last fight. So really, Hotshot has to make sure to keep his farm up.
His team needs to be able to go in with him a few times. It's been great initiations we've seen from Counter Logic, but the first home guard teleport in, it's like they couldn't get to Hotshot in time. It's just a little too fast for him. He's jumping way out of range. So if they can do that, Brunchu can cleanse that and then take the full damage of the team is what they really need. Chuper picking up his blue here. A very dangerous Cassiopeia. It's already a 0.5 second if they're poisoned, and now you're going to get blue buff on your Qs as well.
And one thing we should watch in these team fights is whether or not MIA helps Brunchu escape from Hotshot, right? Because if he spaces himself far enough away from Hotshot when Hotshot goes into his ultimate, he could throw the Lantern down and Brunchu would be able to click it away, maybe dodge the ground slam, and then unleash his spray and pray. But what Hotshot could do actually is when the Lantern goes down, the enemy can actually block it. Because if an enemy's standing on top of the Lantern, the ally can't click it. So Hotshot would have to be really cognizant of that happening.
Looks like Link finally trying to build into some health along with Doublelift as well. Kind of have identical inventories there as they spread out. Lucidity boots for both of them as well.
They've been going just for a big cooldown, right? It's the poke out from Jace trying to make sure he gets his acceleration gates off. 8-second cooldown on his acceleration gate now, so those nukes are coming up really, really fast. And for Doublelift, it's just as important to get cooldown reduction too, because every time you land your E, at a threshold of cooldown reduction, it changes from being able to get 3 Acid Hunters off or 4. So that's why he's going full cooldown.
It's a lot of damage to be distributing if you can get that 4th one. And every time Chauster again going for a sweep around Baron. They're going to find what they want, and you probably get a little bit of movement out of Complexity from this one.
And finally, Complexity is out of their shell. It seems like they've been turtling for so long. They did lose that turret right before their inhibitor, and they're getting some potential ward control as MIA hooks in Hotshot for a little bit, but decides not to go in smartly, realizing he just caught onto a giant rock.
As we look over, we've been looking at CLG's inventory. The Zhonya's, just kind of the sporadic core items coming in. Actually, a Thorn Mail for Nick Wu, trying to throw some of that magic damage back.
And unless it's going to be Hotshot on Nick Wu, which it's not going to be since Hotshot is diving in Brunchu, all Nick Wu wants to do is stack armor, because that's all the damage that's coming straight up against him. He needs to get as much armor as possible, and Thornmail is actually your singular highest armor slot in the game.
Hotshot moving down. He is the leader of the pack here. It looks like they got a flying V going down mid, where they just broke it off. 14-10, cresting on to 29 minutes here in the game. 43,000 to about 40,000, still quite close. 3,000 gold lead is nothing 30 minutes into the game.
And if CLG forces onto this inhibitor really hard, they'd actually force Complexity to initiate on them, which is what I think CLG wants.
Looks like Chauster still on the outside. He has gone on to MIA. He will more than gladly go on to Chuper as well as Brunchu, but they just don't want Loudamortis. You can see the harassment he's giving to him, kind of keeping Loudamortis at bay. Will the jump in come? Chuper down to about 75% health heal. and that would be a quick burst for this team. Hotshot is grabbed. Again, not the person they want.
They're going to lose their inhib.
They are going to go for this one. Trooper throws down the ultimate to start, I believe, and it was just in vain. He throws the the Zonia's down quite early as well, and Counter Logic played the time on this one perfectly. They stayed back, they dodged the Cassiopeia ult, and it looks like they're going to be able to clean up quite easy here. They have lost 2, but that is not huge damage dealers for them. They still have Doublelift and Link.
The power play by CLG, really getting as much inhibitor damage as possible right at the point where it was going to be the inhib down or fight. Complexity had to fight, but it wasn't the proper position, it wasn't the proper time for them, and they lost the fight 3 for 2 because of it.
And hardly anybody got stunned up by Trooper's ultimate. That was very unfortunate there. He had it in the perfect zone, but there was just too much CLG knowledge, and they turned, came out, now taking the top turret. 30 minutes in, they look to make a big push off of that after they come back from the store.
And another thing in that fight is it was a super powerful dive onto Brunchu. He was not able to protect himself. He's got no defensive stats on Twitch, and there was no Lantern there to bail him out once Hotshot closed to him. He tried to get off a few spray and pray shots, but it just wasn't enough as Hotshot and Chouster finished him off. They both burned Flash to get to him, so they might not be able to do that again.
This could be scary, but Doublelift and Aframu still have Flash up. We saw what happened when Aframu had it. He flashed, killed Trooper. They can come into this next fight quite strong and do it again. Aframu throwing down some wards at Baron or just trying to clean him up. Actually, his Oracle, he used it, so that has worn off.
So now it's going to be probably about CLG baiting around Baron and daring Complexity to fight them. That is the fight that CLG seems to win. The ones where CLG's initiated, they've lost 2 of them. But the fights that Complexity has tried to initiate on CLG have actually both went to CLG as well. So I think CLG will have picked up on this pattern, and if all they do is either poke outside at the end of turrets or force a Baron, either way forcing Complexity to come to them, I think CLG will be in good shape.
All right, so with both Link, I guess that was Chouster and Aframu, both of them losing the Oracles down that death, Hotshot picks one up for the team. He's trying to get that Frozen Heart finished or piece together a lot of those late game items so he has all the mitigation that he needs. They look to just clear out Baron and posture for that Baron boogie.
And they're getting the pink wards down. Hotshot this time picking up the Oracle. So that's the 3rd different CLG player who has picked up an Oracles this game. And there's the initiation.
Wow, right onto Trooper. Can't get himself out, but can he go to the Lantern? Oh, it worked! No, the one auto attack from Doublelift makes it over the wall. That was pretty sexy, though.
That was so close to working until Doublelift finished him off. Any member of CLG could have stood straight on top of that lantern and stopped Trooper from being able to click it, but they didn't, and they still got the kill anyway. Oh,
looks like they're going to try to go for Baron here and just bait out the attack. There is no unstoppable force, but they are going to get the movement speed buff there. The taunt away. Can he get some more attacks on? Hotshot just trying to stick to Nick Wu right now in the last move. Oh, they put the gate on him. They're going to get some good damage here. Looks like Nick Wu, if he can get to the lantern, he can't click it. They absolutely smothered the lantern. Did it right that time.
They blocked the lantern and they finished off Nick Wu. You could tell he was trying to click the lantern. Maybe they don't know it can be lantern blocked, and this is real trouble for Complexity. They're going to lose their 2nd inhibitor for sure.
You can see Nick Wu just slowly shaking his head there, concernedly looking on at his team defend the rest of what is left in their base. He has 34 seconds left to come back, and CLG is just going around the horn right now.
Inhibitor number 3 going to be on the way. 27 seconds left on Nick Wu, and the fact that they've been winning the 5v5s the Complexity's tried to initiate on them. Complexity might try to hold this one off because they know 3 inhibitors are death, but this is tough.
Oh, Lautomortis gets dazzled up and dazzled down. And it looks like they're going for Trooper as well. They try to get in there. Link just turned that. He dove in and turned the Cassio ult and was only slowed. Amazing play there. They get in. They get 2 more kills. It's only Brunchu to watch the Nexus turrets go down. Counter Logic looks to stop the bleeding from their 2 losses earlier this week. Nick Wu, if he has one more thing to say about it, coming out of the death chamber with Brunch, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough, chat.
And this inhibitor's going down. CLG going back to 500.
And there it goes. 33 minutes into the game, 18-6. Counter Logic Gaming coming up with a win.
Good job by CLG. They get out of the week at 1-2. Their record is now 3-3. They pulled off their strategy. The 5 death team just rocked you in the face. Good work by them. They overdove at a few situations, but they have come out of here with the victory.
Team face crush, and it's actually funny enough the first game we started to see another Aegis in.
Yeah, they did build the Aegis of Legion, and it came in clutch for them right at the end there, right? There was the magic damage coming out from Cassiopeia, and they were able to guard against that.
So Locket and Aegis, take notes. They're great both.
Yeah.
They're both great to build. So, guys, this matchup was big after the first matchups of the day, so we see how Complexity and CLG can kind of go back at each other. We have a replay of what happened during that match that we're going to cover right now, but still just a great thing to see CLG making a lot of people happy.
And this was the fight that CLG knew they'd be able to get the inhibitor. Watch the initiation from Ladamortis. The Cassio ult doesn't stun anyone, and then the Jarvan ult really just traps him in. At this point, Brunchy would want to kill everyone with the Twitch ult, but he just couldn't get it because Hotshot was right on top of him. Everyone got through to Brunchy, which was one of the big things. They couldn't combo Jarvan with Twitch, and they couldn't get the Cassio counter initiation. Those were the big things Complexity needed to work to win the game, and they couldn't pull off either of them during that fight.
So I guess CLG goes back to being a favorite now for the forums. For
I mean, every time CLG has a good game, everyone loves them. And every time they don't, people are saying they're the worst team ever. But
that's right.
3-3.
You need a team you can get that out of.
Yeah. Hey, they have so much personality. It's because they've been around for so long.
Exactly. They really have. One of those core teams. We'll be right back after these messages, everyone, with an interview with Avramu from Chronologic Gaming. Don't go anywhere. We're back, and we're very excited to welcome Avramu from CLG to the show. Congratulations on the win. It's got to feel good to kind of stop the bleeding after this week.
Thanks. Yeah, it feels a little bit better. This is all right.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
But I mean, you guys did have the 2 losses yesterday, and then you came back with a victory here. What did you do in between days to prepare for this complexity game?
Honestly, we took a little bit more time researching and planning out our level 1. As you can see, we tried to do something, but their level 1 was really good.
Yeah, they
kind of took us by surprise.
Do you want to walk us through exactly what happened level 1 and like how they outplayed you guys?
They went and did their red when we warded it. We knew they were doing it since we had a ward, and then Link told us that Shen could potentially be doing blue, and that didn't like cross our minds as we were doing our red, giving a hard leash. And so we walked to their blue, and we're like, "Oh, dude, it's gone!" And so Hotshot was like, "Your blue's gone." So we just got outplayed.
So right after that, it was kind of like Link's like, "Well, fine, I want that blue buff in bottom lane then."
Oh yeah, we dove Shen after he took a little bit to walk bottom, and Doubleth piled up the wave. So it was an easy dive, even though I died. So.
Yeah, I mean, you said when you came up that you were feeding, but every time you died, your team did get a pretty important kill. The first time you got your blue buff to your mid, and the second time you got a 2-for-1.
Yeah, it makes me feel important sometimes, you know? Got to make plays.
So what's the team mentality coming in yesterday when you guys were throwing out different picks like Nasus and Galio? Were kind of trying to get in a comfort zone, maybe we'll find it here, or were those your guys, attempts to throw out those picks?
We were just testing our team comps a little bit, see how they would work. And Hotshot's comfortable on those champions.
For
he
sure.
used to play them before, so we had played it in scrims consecutively for like 2 or 3 days, so we just brought it, and it didn't work out for us, unfortunately. So
You guys do seem pretty comfortable, at least with the Tarek Urgot lane. Is there any like particular reason you guys like that lane more than any? Like, what's your mindset going into game when you have those 2 picks?
when we pick Tarek Urgot, it is 100% guaranteed kill when we dive, no matter what level, since Doublelift does take Ignite, and Tarek is like the god of diving. He can, like, yesterday, special, oh no, in scrims, like, special triple dove us and tank the tower each time. So it's, like, ridiculous. Tarek's base HP is huge, and he can just do a lot for his team. And Urgot, 50% damage reduction on champions.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Right on. So usually we get the winning players up here, but we're going to go back to yesterday. For you guys, what were those games like for you mentally, for the team? What was the discussion going on after those losses?
After those losses, we were pretty upset at ourselves for not preparing as well as we did, or as we could have.
For sure.
You know, like TSM, we had that intricate level 1, and it worked out for us.
The world loved it.
We didn't really do that for
Right,
Vulcan or Dignitas. We just were like, oh, we think they're gonna pick these champions, and we'll pick these champions. This is what we want.
Right.
This is what we don't want them to have, and that's pretty much it.
Well, it's a great job stopping that coming into today and grabbing the win.
Yeah, thank you.
And I know you're one of the newer members of CLG, right? Because you just joined them really before CLG. Your old team was Vulcan and stuff. And I just wonder if I can ask this question, like, what's the differences in communication between Vulcan and now the new CLG? Is there anything that the teams do differently?
When I was on Vulcan, it was usually this all of us talking, making calls. There wasn't really like a designated shot caller that we listened to. But now that I'm on CLG, we all listen to Chowster. His is absolute. His calls are absolute. So it's different in that sense. You just feed info to Chowster, and then he makes the absolute call. So
cool.
It's pretty cool.
Right on. So do you guys have any, like, not special rituals, but anything anybody does on the team, singularly or as a team, that you guys do before a match that you always have to do?
Doublelift practices CS, and I watch him.
Oh, yeah.
No, actually, I practice flashing over, like, bottom wall, the big fat one.
Yeah?
That people fail all the time.
Right.
So you just go into custom and practice flashing that, and then practicing the ward, that, you know, the Scar video where he warded the bush. I practiced that ward.
Yeah.
So.
Nice.
Well, no, there you go. Some things you have to do to get yourself warmed up. Well, Aftermove, thank you very much. Congratulations
Thank you.
again. Best of luck to CLG and the rest of the LCS. Guys, now let's hear from what you guys had to say and what you are thinking at home. Earlier we asked you, which champion is your favorite AP carry this season and why? Here's what you had to say.
So at TB Sashio says, Rise, you build tanky resist and still do tons of damage while being a carry. That is actually absolutely true. And also, Alex Each really loves Rise in mid lane because he's got no skill shots. He's reliable. You just run up to people and it's guaranteed damage.
For sure. And our second one coming in here, we have Hikarios' system. Something. Yeah. Says, Xerath getting a pentakill miles away from a team. It is fun to play Xerath. You just throw on siege mode, you get a huge amount of range. You just rock people's face.
Xerath is an AP champion that Chouster has actually said has been super underrated for so long, and that he's surprised people don't play Xerath. I've seen him a bit in some of the MLG games that they've been having lately, so we might see Xerath later in the season because he does have potential.
I know my Skype chat has been going crazy. The one we chill in, he's like, I just played Xerath last night. I think I'm in love. But we have another one coming in. Lux. The CDR is so strong in Season 3. Morello, Namakan, Athenes, and spam spells all day. We got to be careful about our item names because they're going to start not fitting in tweets.
That's true, actually. But, I mean, the Lux pick is something we've seen a bunch of in competitive. I
So
know
much.
It's like you're fishing for kills. Froggen is one of the best at him. I remember one of the European LCS games, he just killed Kog'Maw. It was Candy Panda like 3 times in a row with that one. So thanks again, guys, for all of the awesome responses. If you have anything else to share, hit us up at LOL Esports with the hashtag LCS.
And don't forget, the LCS continues on Saturday at 9 a.m. Pacific and 6 p.m. Central European Time when the 2-1 Fnatic returns from their bye week to take on the Copenhagen Wolves, who are still looking for their first win.
And then back here in North America, it's going to be Super Wednesday because we've got 12 games on Wednesday alone next week.
The day begins with Counterlogic Gaming looking for revenge on Vulcan for their big upset loss. It all starts at 11 a.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Central European Time, so make sure you do not miss it. Of course, we've got much more still to come from the North American LCS. When we return, it's time for Marn versus Vulcan. Don't go anywhere.